Happy Monday, and we're glad you're joining us. Yesterday we talked about what has become probably the theme verse of Brentwood Baptist Church. It is found in Acts, and it is chapter 13, and it is verses 1 through 4. To set the verse up, Barnabas has been sent to Antioch to see if the revival there, the church there, is for real. Jerusalem sent Barnabas to Antioch to validate the work of the Spirit in Antioch. Barnabas gets there, he's overjoyed by what he sees, and he knows this young church needs a trained, skilled leader. So Barnabas then goes to Tarsus and he finds Paul and brings Paul back, and Paul and Barnabas pastor the church in Antioch. Things are going incredibly well, and they're in the middle of a prayer meeting. And right in the middle of the prayer meeting, one of the members stands up who's recognized as a prophet, somebody who has paid attention to the Lord and knows what the Lord desires for the congregation. Every church has this kind of member. And if you don't believe me, ask around. Who are the people that this church listens to? And your list will be the same as your friend's list. Now, you may have them in different order, but your list will be the same. The church knows who to pay attention to. It was this guy who stood up and said, the Lord desires that we set aside Paul and Barnabas for a unique mission, for a call to missionary work. The church heard it. The church prayed and fasted. The church confirmed that, yes, we believe that is what God is saying to us. They laid hands on Paul and Barnabas, and in verse 4, Paul and Barnabas are gone. The prophecy happens in verse 2, they're gone in verse 4. Now, what happens at the next prayer meeting? I have two theories. One, either everybody comes to see what's going to happen next, or nobody's there thinking, well, they sent off Paul and Barnabas, they may send me off next. So what happens when we begin to understand as a church that the purpose of the church is to train our members, to train our leaders to the point where the Holy Spirit will come and get them to go do a new work? The whole point of the church is to run members off. The church in Antioch sent off two of its strongest leaders. From that, we have the stories of Paul's missionary journeys. I wonder what would have happened if the church had said, no, we really need Paul and Barnabas. We're going to keep them and we'll send somebody else. It probably wouldn't be the same if you had the missionary journeys of Fred and George. It wouldn't have made the same impact. But the church trained up people knowing that the Lord would call them. One of the things that's going on now in our culture is that we're in the middle of the Second Reformation. The First Reformation gave the word back to the people. The Second Reformation gives ministry back to the people. And that is the one who is being called to reach your neighborhood and your community is you. The role of the church now is to train you up so that you're ready when God calls you to be set aside for this missionary journey. Things that we'll celebrate at Brentwood Baptist Church are, yes, we will celebrate every time Christ brings someone into our church family. That's always a meaningful and exciting moment when that happens. But we're also going to be just as excited from the times He calls people away. When He calls people off to Station Hill, Avenue South, Nolensville, Woodbine, Harpeth Heights, who am I missing? Lockland Springs, Woodbine, on, to start churches in your community, your neighborhood, to start Bible studies on your street. We want to celebrate the numbers of people that Jesus is running off. And we hope one day you're one of those, that God will raise up, train, call out to do something new. When we get together with Paul and Barnabas and all these saints of Antioch and they're telling their stories, we want to have some cool stories too. And I hope you're one who will tell them. And I'll give you 60 seconds to think about the story you'll tell, and I'll see you tomorrow.